They say the bigger they are, the harder they fall. And while that's true, let me add this. Sometimes the bigger they are, the harder it is to get back up. With these next college football programs, they certainly used to be the biggest bully on the block. But right now, they can barely get back on their feet. So what happened to these once mighty powerhouses that makes them suck so bad today? What rocks got slung in their face? What keeps hitting them while they are still down? Why have these college teams gotten so bad? Is coming up right after this. I know this may be hard to believe, but I get teased a lot for being bald. It's okay, I've been known to dish it out, but this isn't about me or my shiny dome. It's about you, and if you're suffering from hair loss, the solution isn't a razor or a nicely shaped head, which you probably aren't lucky enough to have because you're not me. Boom. Roasted. I'm talking about Bosley, America's #1 hair restoration experts with more than 45 years experience helping men and women fight hair loss. Trust me, you don't want to wait. I wish I had tackled hair loss earlier instead of giving up. Bosley has both surgical and non-surgical options to help keep the hair you have and grow thicker and fuller hair where you need it most. So after this video, head on over to bosley.com/5point and learn how you can get a thicker, fuller head of hair. Right now, they are giving away a free information kit and a $250 gift card towards a procedure. Again, click the link below and get a free cost estimate and find the right hair loss solution for you. Don't be me. Bosley, America's #1 hair restoration experts. Once upon a time in the winter of 2006, Texas defeated the back-to-back champion USC Trojans in one of the greatest college football games of the 21st century. The image of Vince Young trotting into the end zone was followed by the legend of his successor, Colt McCoy. McCoy never brought Texas to the mountaintop like Vince Young did, but he did bring them to the precipice in 2009, but was knocked out of a game that Alabama won by 16 points, and it wouldn't have made a difference. That was the last time Texas was truly relevant. Since then, it's been a string of Holiday and Alamo Bowls for the Longhorns, and sometimes not even that. And the constant asking if Texas is back, and the answer has been resoundingly no. Why has Texas stunk so bad? Head coach Mack Brown, who was constantly maligned as a second-rate coach, resigned and created a lack of leadership at the top, plus a string of inadequate quarterbacks like AAF legend Garrett Gilbert, David Ash, Shane Buckley, and Case McCoy. Texas's defense has also declined since the departure of Will Muschamp, following an overall trend in the Big 12. And speaking of the Big 12, Texas has gotten bodied by their arch rivals, the Oklahoma Sooners, who have won 9 of the last 12 Red River showdowns. Of course, things should get better when Texas moves to the SEC, right? You can't beat Kansas, but you should be able to compete with Alabama and Georgia. All right. Things are so bad that your own recruits are laughing at you. Damn, son.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit!
Congrats, Florida. You went from winning a national championship with a quarterback who couldn't throw the ball to losing with multiple quarterbacks who couldn't throw the ball. At least that guy had God on his side. Now, not even Jesus himself would have the patience to sit through the quarterback play Florida has put up there since Tebow. Let's run through the Gators' formidable list of signal callers since number 15 ascended to doing Toyota commercials. You've got Jeff Driscoll, who was so bad at quarterback the Texans moved him to tight end. Trayon Harris, who made Tim Tebow look like Peyton Manning in the pocket. Will Grier, an NFL player who's overshadowed by his little brother. And thank God, because Will Grier sucks at football. Felipe Franks, who looks like the Kmart version of Patrick Mahomes. And then, of course, you have Kyle Trask, who I guarantee will end up retiring before Tom Brady lets him take a single meaningful snap. The Gators have produced some solid NFL players over the last decade. Guys like Kyle Pitts. Oh, I'm gonna chill until I can name it. Okay, that's it. The low point? two Gators blocking each other against Georgia Southern, or losing to Kentucky, or losing to South Carolina. Wait, you lost to Mizzou too this year? But don't take it from me. Let's hear from somebody who kind of knows why Florida sucks.
Why do the Florida Gators suck all of a sudden? Well, it wasn't all of a sudden. The heck? Dan Mullen tricked us all. Okay, he suckered us in. We didn't know, but we know now. What do we know? That this man's a garbage recruiter. We know that. What else do we know? We know he's not the QB whisperer we thought he was. Why else would he have Felipe Franks starting over Kyle Trask that whole time? It makes sense if you think about it. This man has tricked us. He can't recruit. That's why I'm glad Billy Napier's in there. I'm glad we made the decision when we did. Who knows? We could be like FSU and have Mike Norvell as our coach next 3-4 years. I'm glad Dan's out. I'm glad Billy is in. Let's go Gators. Let's go Gators. The Florida Gators will win the national championship in basketball.
Well, Florida State, ever since Jameis Winston got on that table and said those 6 magic words, your football program has been on a steady decline. I wish I could say that was the stupidest thing Jameis did that season, but his fumble against Oregon in the Rose Bowl was much dumber. Not to mention funnier. Jimbo Fisher, the successor to Bobby Bowden, abandoned you for Texas A&M, where he's righted their ship. You haven't been able to find a good head coach since. Willie Taggart managed to put together a losing record in 2 years, and Mike Norvell, well, he looks even worse. He's not even the best head coach named Norvell in college football. But the problem started before Jimbo even left. Bleacher Report uncovered FSU's awful academic standards for its football players, and that's saying a lot. Remember, this is Florida State, where the normal students also have terrible academic standards. The school had the lowest academic progress rate of any Power 5 school, so bad that they almost got popped with an automatic postseason ban. For grades, the quarterback position has been a total mess since Jameis got picked number 1 for some ungodly reason. DeAndre Francois, who was dismissed on allegations of domestic abuse, makes Jameis look like a national treasure. The low point, losing to Jacksonville State on the last play. Even the cheerleaders had a laugh at that shit. Your team hasn't even qualified for a bowl game in 2 of its last 3 seasons, and when it did, you guys took an L against Arizona State to clinch a losing record. This program has become a joke, a pushover in the ACC, and that's actually sad. Hey, USC, what's your deal, man? Ever since the departure of Pete Carroll, the University of Spoiled Children has been just as irrelevant as the rest of the Pac-12. But like many of the residents of Southern California, the Trojans keep hanging on to the past version of themselves, still seeing visions of Leinart and Bush, while the reality is Keaton Slovis and Jackson Dart. Seriously, are those even actual names or types of computer viruses? For some reason, the general public views the USC job as a prestigious opportunity. In reality, it's just a chance to get absolutely blasted by the likes of Chip Kelly. Hold on, keyboard warrior, I'll get to that. Why has USC been so thoroughly underwhelming over the last decade? Well, unlike the other teams in this video, their problem hasn't necessarily been at quarterback. Well, except for number 1 recruit Max Brown. Instead, they haven't gotten it right at head coach. You had 1 good year with Sam Darnold, but since then, USC has been just as disappointing as their quarterbacks when they hit the NFL. Kiffin, Sarkisian, and Clay Helton were all warmed over turds who squandered supreme talent and whatever brand recognition the program still has left over from the Bush administration. Enter now the savior, Lincoln Riley, a guy who knows all about beating up on inferior competition, riding a hype train to the college football playoff, and then thoroughly getting ass pounded by the SEC. Okay, you might say that that's Oklahoma's problem, but what about the last 10 years of USC losing to prime competition like OSU and Alabama? USC hired Riley though, so it's their problem now. Before we get to the biggest fall from grace and one of the worst programs in the country that was once great, quick honorable mention to the Miami Hurricanes, who haven't recovered since a bullshit PI cost them a natty, and then, well, scandal after scandal broke, and Mark Rich got you to being, well, average to below average. But at least you aren't FSU. And now, let's figure out why this team has gotten so bad. Oh good, we saved the best for last. And by best, I mean the worst. A Big Ten team so bad they make Minnesota look like a powerhouse. Great job recruiting, by the way. Maybe next year you can add another Martinez in the mix, or even better, find whatever underachieving McCaffrey brother they have locked up in the basement. Though none of you remember it, the Cornhuskers won 3 natties in the 90s in a 4-year span. But here's 2 words that are scarier to a Nebraskan than being Lawrence Phillips' cellmate. Scott Frost. After a shit ton of hype, Scott Frost took over in 2018, and Nebraska has finished in 5th place in the Big Ten West every year, sniffing neither a winning record nor a bowl appearance. Serious question, are you guys trying to kill Tom Osborne with these results? Yes, he's alive. I had to look that up too. So where did a storied program in college football lore manage to screw it all up? It's pretty easy to see where it all went sideways. Nebraska made a big call to leave the Big 12 for the Big 10. That move cost them a big portion of their recruiting pipelines and left them with a weak prospect pool that can't compete with the rest of the conference. Try convincing an 18-year-old to move to Nebraska, where they can routinely get their ass kicked by the likes of Michigan, Ohio State, Wisconsin, hell, even teams like Purdue are having their way with the Huskers. Oh, and by the way, they still get to live in Nebraska. It's very apparent that Nebraska has lost their way. They're lost in a maze of corn and they can't seem to get out. Don't expect that to change anytime soon, no matter how much they bilk their alumni out of overpriced season tickets for the awful product they are putting out there. Sad times in Lincoln. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, comment, or subscribe for more interesting films on sports. Yes, all sports, not just stadiums. I'm 5 Points Vids, and you made it to my next video.